Hey everybody in internet television land, we are live on ThatChannel.com. Welcome to a very special edition of Liquid Lunch. I'm really pleased to be here with Colin McClean.
Yep.
He's a really amazing person in our community. Okay, he's been, how long have you been doing what you're doing? And before you tell us that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show the people out there that you have written a book.
Yes.
And this book is called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to My Career.
That's correct.
Okay, so I'm going to let you tell us a little bit about yourself, but first I want to know, how long have you been doing this?
Oh, for years actually. So let me start by saying thanks for having me on the show. Appreciate it. And I could go into the long, sad story about how I lost my job due to restructuring, working at an import-export company for 15 years, but I won't do that. What I will do is share with you a brief story that involves all of us. And it goes something like this. So you visualize yourself walking in the hot, hot summer sun for hours on end. You're thirsty, you're tired, you're exhausted. And you get to a little diner and you go in and you see this huge jug of ice cold lemonade. So you go to the front, may I please have a glass of your lemonade? And the guy in turn gives you a hamburger. So you're a little bit perplexed, and you're thinking, no, I wanted the lemonade. Behind you, he looks, and goes, smiles, and he gives you French fries. So it's safe to say by now you're getting a little bit agitated with this person. You're thirsty, and you need to be quenched. So you give him one more chance, and you say, look over there behind you. He looks, lemonade right there, he touches it, he smiles, looks back at you, and he gives you an egg. Would you stay with that establishment, or would you go elsewhere?
Right.
You go elsewhere, correct?
Yeah.
So this whole book started when we are like the people behind the counter, the same person who doesn't have his act together.
Yeah.
We have employers asking for X, we're giving them Z.
Yeah.
We have a new business potential client, they want this, we're giving them completely different what they're looking for.
Right.
In the end, they leave and they don't come back.
Yeah.
So it comes down to pretty much 3 pounds. I've been in the industry for employment services for about probably 7 years, maybe more.
Right.
And you know what the 3 pounds is?
No.
It's your brain.
Right.
So I think Henry Ford said it best. Whether you think you can or think you cannot, you're probably right. And that's what happens to a lot of people. If they have like self-doubt, it's how they view themselves in the world, and it ripples into I guess non-successes. So it's 3 pounds makes a difference.
Yeah. So when you tell that story about repeatedly asking for what you want and not getting what you want, so you mean that from an employee's perspective and an employer's perspective?
Everyone's perspective. So the employer could be the one you want to get a job with, or it could also be the new business contract. They're asking for certain criteria and you're not giving it to them. And then you start wondering, why am I always failing? Why am I not succeeding in life? Because it comes down to your perception of yourself and how you view the world around you that makes a difference, be it success or failure. And that's what I do. So I've created the A Funny Thing Happened book for that reason, for employment. And it's on Amazon and on the website. And I've also found that when you can adjust people's mindset and help them further for success, I've actually created Colin McClean, that's 2C's@McClean.com, which is more like life coaching and skills development.
Yeah, so if at this point if you want to get in touch with Colin and find out, now I'm ColinMcClean.com.
Yes, 2C's@McClean.
And it's COLIN, and it's M little c, big C, or just MCCLEAN.
That's correct.
.com.
Yep.
Now, I imagine that there are probably quite a few tips in here that people are going to find really, really valuable. Do you want to just tell us about a couple of things that are in this book that are really going to help people?
Sure. So what I did is I developed the book into 3 sections. The first section is pre-interview. The second section is during the interview and what you do after the interview. So I created it as a humorous way because I find when you use humor, people are more receptive to learn.
Yes.
When you give people job searching books of like this thick, they're stressed as it is, they don't take it in. So humor is the best medicine. And what I found is research the employer. Same thing for business. Research your contact. What are they looking for? What do they need? Do you fit into their culture, not just race culture, but the way they do business? Do you see yourself fitting a match, pretty much? It's like almost like dating, actually.
Yeah. And as a sales and marketer myself, what I've learned is it's true. People just want to hear about themselves, and they want to know that you know something about them. So would you say that when you go into an interview, you need to talk as much about yourself as you do about the person that you're applying to the job for, right? Connection. Yeah, and so that's important. This is a really cool book, and it's available on Amazon, you said?
Yep, and also on the website afunnythin.net.
Right, and I know that as well as what to do in an interview, what to do before an interview, during and after, you also have other tips that take people even further. So I know you talk about mentorship in your book and how important that can be. And I would say too, as somebody that has been out there as an administrator and a sales and a marketer, there's only so much that you can learn from reading about something.
Exactly.
There's even only so much you can learn from your own experience.
True.
So how do you go about finding a mentor, and what kinds of things are you going to want to pursue when you make that contact? Okay.
I mentor people, as well as when I was looking for a mentor, I want someone who's at a place in life where I want to be. So I had a best friend from college. He seemed to have his act together. Things were going confident. And when I lost my job many years ago, I wasn't feeling that way. So I asked him to be my mentor. He was a little bit taken back. Says, sure, we'll just have a conversation. And we started talking. And then he got me involved in more self-development. And then before long, I found we were actually at an equal. We were like the same, so you achieve your goals. So we keep looking for new mentors, right? You can be young, old, doesn't matter. It's just someone you can learn from and also give back.
Yeah, I think it's good too, because when you go out into the work world, you get one of the impressions that you get is a sense of competition. And you start to look at people that do things better than you as your competitor, when really those people are your teachers.
True. Exactly. Right? Exactly.
Okay, well, I'm going to put you on the spot, Colin, because the people that are watching, they really, what they want to know is if you really do know your stuff, right? Okay. And you also you've got the book, and you are an advisor, you are a consultant, and you are a mentor.
Yes.
Right? So I'm just going to flip open the book here. And what I have here is, it says rule number 23, don't just rely on your resume or cover letter to do the selling for you. So what more could we possibly do?
Okay. That's a very good point. It also relates to your own business. You can have a website or your resume, what you do, or a brochure, but people want a connection. Everyone's saying they're a hard worker. Everyone says they have this skill, that skill, 60 words a minute they type. What's going to stand you out from the competition? And I remember many, many years ago when I was unemployed, I went to this cutthroat sales position. And I wasn't really for it, but you're desperate, you need to find work, so I go for it. And the first thing the guy asked me is, why should I hire you?
Right.
Couldn't answer the question.
Yeah.
So that didn't go too well. But after time, I started finding out who I was and what I do. And what I do is, with my clientele, I look at your thoughts, your values, your belief systems, what skills you bring to the table, what do you want to accomplish. We do backwards planning. You want to be over here, let's work backwards realistically. How are you going to get there in small chunks?
So a person's thoughts and a person's values are important, because I've also owned my own business before, and it does turn out that it is the person, not the degree or the education and so on. So how does a person, okay, now I want to frame it like this. We have some people that are very, they need the confidence and they need to approach things in a way where they need to be able to present themselves in a positive framework. But then what about those of us, like me, who are kind of overconfident? would you say that in that case, in order for people for me to present like who I am, would you say that I might want to also acknowledge what my weaknesses are, so that I don't present an overconfident stance that will get me in trouble down the road?
Exactly. So what I tell people is, if you do not know yourself, you cannot give of yourself. So you're going to have to go in those dark places, really go through some sessions, which I work with people, find out where you are, where you want to be. What do people say about you? What does your friends say about you? Do you call and no one's ever home? Everyone's always not returning your calls? Is it like you're sending out your resumes to employers, someone's calling you? Like, what exactly? If that's happening, it's probably maybe your mannerisms, your personality. Take a look. Ask people.
I love that. You know, I love this, because the reason that I really like this approach is because it's just like a relationship. It can teach you many wonderful things about yourself if you will allow yourself to show your weaknesses and to help someone take you through that process. So right now, here working at ThatChannel.com, I have had to look at that, and I've had to make a decision. Am I going to only pay attention to the positive reinforcement that I get, or am I going to listen to when people speak about me in a way that isn't positive? Because and it's good that you look at the person, because we're not just workers, we're not just what's on our resume. And if you build people up from the ground up, then you're allowing that person to really go into any job.
Be more stable.
Yeah.
And I view it as not just criticism, but opportunities for development. You know, if you view it that way, that they're trying to help you grow, then you go much further. Those who take it as criticism and do not listen, it's like a sanity. Do the same thing over and over again, with different results. That's why, like, maybe marriages don't work, why you don't have a lot of friends, why you don't get the business contract. You have to look at that. There's a certain underlying thing.
So you're talking about, the way I hear it, you're talking about two things. You're talking about strategies for career planning, strategies for employment, and a foundation of self-improvement.
Exactly.
That will probably benefit not just your work life, but other parts of your life.
Exactly.
So that's really amazing, Colin, because I know that for our workplace to progress and for business to get better and for us to be able to do better business, we have to figure out really how to be the best person who can handle all of that, because truth be told, there's only so many jobs out there. Our economy is not really so great. You know, I mean, when I was younger, everybody had a job.
Yeah, our parents' time was great.
Everyone had a job.
70s, 80s, it was good.
And we didn't think about it very much. You know, we just thought about what kind of job we wanted, not like if we could actually get one. So I think there needs to be a shift myself in the whole way that we do business. And I think the foundation of that is what kind of people we are. So is there anything else you want to tell us about your services that you can provide for people in terms of them being successful? Actually, I have a question now. I do have a question.
Go for it. Yeah.
When do you not take the job? Is there ever an instance where you don't take the job?
Okay. You don't take the job or the project that you want to work on with a client when you feel there's no fit. If you feel that you cannot work with your management contact or the employer, there's some things like that job of the sales. Even if I got it, I know that wouldn't have been a good thing, because it was a really cutthroat and you had to do some stuff which I won't think I'd be comfortable doing, actually, just to make the sale. So if you can't sleep at night with your decision, chances are you'll have to walk away. And I walk away through other businesses as well, where I know maybe someone's not ready for me yet. They will be in a couple of years or so, but right now, this moment in time, they're not ready to move forward, and that's okay.
Do you have anything in your book about that, like exit strategy etiquette for, I know it's very difficult to leave a job. And, you know, do you have any hints for people about how to do that in a
Never burn
way?
any bridges. I'll give you a story whereby the same company I work for, the import-export, got let go. and restructuring. And then many years after, my ex-boss was trying to track me down to do some marketing and communications work for him. Now, what if I burned the bridge there? That would not have worked out as a good business venture. We never would have called me. And even how you conduct yourself in public, people are always watching you. And I remember when I went for one job interview it was doing the employment sector, I just started getting into it. The lady said she recognized me. I'm thinking, you recognize me? I don't even know who you are. She says, way back when you were a student, I was doing the import-exports job at first and migrating to it, you sat so nicely in the bus, your professionalism. And she recognized me, and this is going back 15 years.
Wow.
So you never know who's watching you. It's a very small, tiny world. So always operate at a high standard wherever possible.
Yeah. Well, that's really good, because you don't want to burn your bridges, like you said. You never know down the road. You never know how far your career is going to take you.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody wants to, let's say somebody goes to Amazon and they read a funny thing happened on the way to my career, and they look at all your amazing cartoons and your advice.
Thanks.
And they get all this kind of information in themselves, but now they want to talk to you. So what do? They
can contact me through the website.
Okay, and your website is colinmcclean.com.
Yep.
And they could also call you in Toronto?
Well, they could. I prefer more, actually, if they actually emailed for me to see where they're at, actually.
Okay, so let's say you got Colin's book on Amazon, and you wanted to talk to him. Then what you would do is you would just email colinmccleansolutions@gmail.com.
Yep.
And then you could ask Colin some really tough questions like I have today. Because, really, we do need the experts.
We do.
Okay, it's just a shot in the dark every time we go to apply for a job.
It is.
It's also one of the most nerve-wracking things that can happen to you. I have, the simple nervousness of the whole entire process. And then sometimes you don't, I really liked your beginning story about making sure that you're getting what you're asking for. And you get involved in setting yourself up for a job, and you really need to know what am I going to get, and what am I supposed to give my employer, and sometimes if that gets mixed up, then I guess you're stuck in a circle that you don't want to be.
It happens. So I tell many people is you have to find or define what your self-actualized man or woman is. Like, what does your ultimate self look like? How do they interact? How do they even talk to people? How do they even think? And then when you do that, actually, I've been nervous at meetings. When meeting, I remember, what would my self-actualized person do? I start acting like that person, not being arrogant, but you just become a person, and your whole energy level of stress calms down, actually.
Nice.
So you actually become what you want to become.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's just 3 pounds of the brain, just shifting it slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think mine's probably only 2.5 pounds, but you could work with that if you needed to, couldn't
Quality,
you?
not quantity. Remember
That's
that.
right. So, I'm really glad that you were here with us today.
Thanks.
I thoroughly enjoyed this. We're all in this position at some point. We're either wanting a job, getting a job, or maybe we're even trying to figure out how to get out of the job we're in.
Yeah.
In any case, I really don't normally recommend everything that I have here on that channel or everyone, but I am going to recommend that you do take a look at this, because the tips in this book they're really good. They're kind of like deep as well as actionable.
Yes, and the funny thing about relationships we're talking about before was the way you put yourself out there, people tend to help you or not help you. And I remember when I did the book, the character's name is Marvin.
Yeah.
He does everything incorrectly, and that teaches you what not to do, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I talked to a friend, and she was in film and video, and she says, you know what, I'll talk to my colleague Damien. He's our director. He actually found someone who looks exactly like the guy. His name is Josh. So if you had time, you could play the clip. I think it was rule number 3 about your skills, actually. And yeah, he looks exactly like the character. And I've never met him before.
Yeah.
It's just where I put myself out there, the mindset, and it just happened to look exactly.
Yeah. So would you say, like, just on a final note, would you say that keeping your own, positive energy and your own positive outlook is going to take you a long way, and that we have to do that ourselves, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, Colin, thank you so much. Okay. And we'll see you again on Liquid Lunch. You are watching ThatChannel.com. My name is Lalo Redhawk. Thank you very much for joining us.
Okay, thanks.